Blue skies means fun days. Helping skydivers with tips and techniques about safety, training and fun jumping from those who know.
The question was about how to communicate, how to keep level, whether you're high on a formation or if you're low on a formation. This is the hugest part, because for us to go have fun jumps, make friends, do whether it's 2 ways or 200 ways, the ability to control your fast fall and slow fall. And the one thing that really has hit me quick, like continuously throughout my entire career, is slow reaction time. Slow reaction time. And I'll give you an example. If there's 2 people here, right? And like, let's say that they're both equal weight, everything's exactly the same size jumpsuit, everything. And all of a sudden this fall rate starts going. And the guy that's starting to go, as he's going down, he's looking up, he's like, I wonder if I'm going low. All right, too late. Too late. And the same thing like this is this guy's rising up, it's like, because it looks like this guy's dropping out. And so when you're in the wind tunnel, it's really evident because the walls are stationary and you can tell. And this is where sometimes, like when we have the difference between wind tunnel and skydiving, we can't really tell. And the same thing, a lot of times when you first start jumping, if you're talking about backsliding or side sliding, stuff like that, if you're in the wind tunnel, it's really obvious who's backsliding. But like, since we're talking about levels, you guys, one of the biggest things, we have to learn how to have a correct fast fall and a correct slow fall, okay? And so the easiest thing for us is, it's always easier to go down to the low person. But if that person's low, they just can't just keep going low. We need a reaction, a slow fall. And one of the things, if you have a neutral body position, this is really important. You guys, I think it's probably one of the most important things as coaches when you talk about basic body flight or basic skills camp. There's like there's a bunch of checkpoints. For example, if I'm having a guy that's never been in the tunnel and maybe has 50 jumps, which is the best place, 10 jumps, 5 jumps, whatever. Because to go through AFF, you guys, really what they want to do is they want to make sure that you're arching and that you're aware your emergency procedures, but turning is just basically a general control, and it's usually arms. Okay, a lot of times they're not teaching legs and like using legs to initiate turns. And so, and the same thing for slow fall. Everybody understands what an arch is, but also to de-arch, it's basically to go flat, okay? And if you go watch somebody in the tunnel that's never flown, like a first-time flyer, it's gonna be something similar. You're gonna see people doing turns like this, which does work. Is it the most efficient? No. Okay, and so the fall rate, what we're talking about, like, and the best thing, I don't have a diagram, but like if this is an arch, like this is a normal arch, like this is my head, these are my feet, and we don't really fall. Like if we're in the wind tunnel or in the air, when we're in the air, we tend to fly a little flatter, but we're in the wind tunnel, we're a little bit higher. And so if this is my head and these are my feet, okay, if you guys understand this kind of looks a little bit more like that. You guys got to bear with me on this visualization. There's a little bit of an arch. These are the tops of my feet, okay, so like this is legs out, okay, this is a neutral position. Arm position is here, not 90 degrees, not here. For us to have a good fast fall, you guys, the elbows have to be forward, okay? So it almost looks like a diamond into here, okay? So, and the other thing, when it looks on level, you guys, it's not like this. It looks like a triangle. It looks like holding like a big hamburger. And our hands are relaxed, okay? Because the places that I'm resting on is my elbows, my 4 points. It's like a little, if I draw an X through my body, okay, and the center point goes right through center of that X goes through my center. The end of these are the tips of my elbows inside inside of both of my elbows, and then the inside of both knees. And it's very symmetrical. And so the way we do a turn, it's basically like if you look like a propeller. Like this is how we do right turn, left turn. Okay, and so whatever we're doing, we want to try to use as much of the legs as we can. And let me give you an example. Let's say if I'm building a two-way cat, or let's say there's a four-way base in a star, and then there's four people catting on the outside. Okay, so when you come into a cat, you're just going to fly into your position, line up with your person, look at the center, get a couple of inches low, and then make sure you're lined up, and then you're going to pick up the grips. And the grips need to be solid but not heavy. And one of the biggest things I see with people flying from the tunnel, and you'll see the same people when we're skydiving, is when they start to go low. Let's say we're building a 20-way and somebody's out here and they start dropping, okay? And as soon as they start dropping, they just push with their hands. You know, we look at this surface right here and we think this is going to slow you down. That surface right there, you really think that's going to hold up 195 pounds? No. And what it does, it takes this arch, and when you push your hands down, it makes you fall faster. Okay? And so one of the things that we teach you guys is the slow fall. The primary portion, you guys, starts from the hips down, just a little bit of knees down. So if these are your legs, what you have is you have this. And it's not just the knees, you guys, it's the lower legs. And you see that V that's on there? Especially if you have like ballistic fabric on your booties, you can kind of turn the booties out a little bit. Like my slowest fall position is almost a little bit like a booty fly, a little bit head up, because what I'm resting on is on this V, okay? This is what I mean, this is your body and these are your legs, okay? So when you push your knees down, we have this, and it leaves your head up where you can see. A lot of people, they're flat, they put their head down, and not only are you not doing an efficient slow fall, it's now we're making it faster. But one of the things that people don't understand, and it took me thousands of jumps, I was probably a world champion before I could actually put this into words, that when people are falling, okay, let's say I have a 20-way, and somebody goes low, very occasionally you'll see them just keep on going. A lot of times what happens is they'll stop 10 feet, okay? This fall rate hasn't changed. They're like, I wonder if I'm going low. And then they go into emergency mode, and they're down here. And then they spend the whole time doing this all around, okay? And as they're doing all this, they're spilling air. And all that slow fall you're trying to do, it's wasted. And so here's the other side. Somebody who's lighter, they tend to slow fall, they come back up, and then they get a little bit high on it, and then come back in. And they're like, hey, did you see me? I came back up to the formation. And I was like, okay, if you came back up to that formation and we're all falling 120 miles an hour, we don't even need parachutes. We can all just go out in that field out there, stand there and just go, and we could just take off, okay? Because it's perception. But the other thing is when people are low, they want to try to close the distance this way. And guys, so hard. Don't do it. Don't do it. The most important thing is if you ever find yourself low, stop. Don't get underneath the skydiving formation. Stay to the outside. Try to stay 90 degrees to it. Don't push with your hands, you guys. Don't push with your hands. And if you do have some issues with this, you guys, I would really recommend flying with a very experienced coach that teaches good mechanics about slow fall. But you guys remember this, pushing down with your hands is not going to work, okay? And what I'm talking about is learning how to input much quicker. Like if you're looking at levels, like if I'm looking at the camera right now, we're level, and the moment I start going down, I need to have that instant reaction where I have some rigidity. And you guys know what I'm talking about. If you've ever carried like a piece of plywood in the wind and it kind of catches that flat edge, that's what we really want. But the more we can do it with our lower half, because imagine if we're back on that cat and I've got grips on here and all of a sudden the fall rates get slow and I'm doing this, and you're the kind of person that wants to push with your hands, or you're just going to let go. And the ability to be on the back of a cat like this and have a little slow fall, but also be using this, okay? But the thing is, there's no position that we can teach you, and this is so important. Nobody, you could pick your most experienced skydiver in the world. Once you're low on a formation, you guys, you think you're coming up to it, but you're just slow falling and the group is catching up to you, okay? And so if you think of it like that, you guys, the best way to never go low is to never get below the levels, okay? Like, this is why we use the stadium approach when you're coming down to like a large formation, but the stadium approach can be on a 2-way, 4-way, 500-way. It never changes. It's like a 45 to 60 degree angle, and the reason why we do that is as we're coming in, we're arching, and then we can test those brakes, but without coming to a whole stop. But it's like being able to test your brakes a couple of times without just, you got a bunch of traffic behind you and traffic in front of you. We don't just want to speed down, stop, turn sideways, because like if you're diving to a formation or getting close and all of a sudden you see somebody turn sideways, that just tells me either the fall rate's too slow or those guys ahead of me are going too fast. And so just checking your approach to the formation and then testing your brakes a little bit, okay? The arch is just as important as the slow fall. And so when we're arching, you guys, a lot of times people want to do this or do this to take their surface away, which sometimes we may have to. But if we're doing like a 2-way or a 4-way, something small, you guys, it's better to have your hands here. So when you arch, like if I'm in an arch, I'm gonna lift my feet to the sky. Like if I'm laying in this room, my feet are going higher, my head and hands are going higher, so that we really get a nice arch like this equally, okay? It's not just hands or feet, but to do them efficiently but quickly, and also recognizing the levels. Like if you see that you're rising up or if you see you're dropping down, both of these need much faster reaction times.
For more tips and techniques, click subscribe.